My beloved child, something extraordinary has been written in the heavens concerning you, and today on November 30 that writing has been unsealed. This is not an ordinary day. This is not an ordinary message. A billion-dollar blessing, yes, a destiny-shifting, cycle-breaking, life-rearranging blessing has been released in your name. And God says it carries a divine timestamp, 3:33 p.m. Archangel Michael has stepped forward to confirm that this release is not symbolic, it is strategic. It is targeted. It is timed. And it is for you. A whisper is moving across the spiritual realm right now. A whisper only a sensitive soul can hear. Open now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not when life is perfect. Now. Because something is aligning that rarely aligns. Heavenly permission, divine timing, and your name written on a blessing that carries the weight of kingdom wealth. When God marks something with a time, He is not speaking in metaphors. He is marking an appointment. And Archangel Michael stands guard over that appointment so no force can interrupt it. Listen closely, because the moment you understand what is happening, the blessing accelerates. Today, November 30, is not a random date. It is a spiritual portal date. One of those rare days when the atmosphere becomes thin and instructions, signs, and confirmations move swiftly. Michael says this window is only open for those who are awake in the spirit. You were led here because something deep inside you already sensed a shift coming. You felt the anticipation. You felt the pull. You felt the unusual stirring in your chest, as if heaven was trying to get your attention. And now heaven has your attention. But here is the part almost no one knows. Whenever God releases a financial elevation of this magnitude, He sends a guardian to protect the blessing before it reaches the earth. Michael is standing beside your name right now, shielding what belongs to you. He is ensuring that no jealousy, no spiritual interference, no hidden enemy, no unseen blockage can touch what has been prepared for your hands. This is why this message found you. This is why you didn't scroll past. This is why your spirit leaned in. Heaven is confirming you are on schedule. There is a reason God says 3:33 p.m. That number carries prophetic meaning. 3 is the number of resurrection. 3 is the number of divine completion. 3 is the number of supernatural establishment. When heaven repeats a number 3 times, it means the blessing is already formed, already approved, and already dispatched. You are not asking God to create something. He already created it. You are simply being positioned to receive it. Archangel Michael says the blessing you are about to encounter is not just wealth. It is restoration wealth. Wealth that repairs the years that were stolen. Wealth that heals what was broken. Wealth that silences every voice that doubted you. Wealth that repositions your identity and your influence. But Michael also warns this: when a billion-dollar blessing is released, the enemy often tries to distract the recipient in the final moments before arrival. He'll send fear. He'll send self-doubt. He'll send sudden anxiety. He'll send thoughts like, what if this isn't for me? Or what if nothing changes? These are spiritual smokescreens designed to pull you out of alignment. Do not fall for them. Because right now, heaven is literally counting down. You do not need to chase the blessing. You do not need to earn the blessing. You do not need to force the blessing. You only need to stay open. Open now, God said. And Michael repeats it in the unseen places of your spirit. Open your expectation. Open your readiness. Open your belief. Some of you have been fighting battles that made you forget who you were. You started questioning whether God still remembered you. Michael wants you to know, the delay was not denial. The delay was preparation. The delay was building the capacity required for what's coming. Because a billion-dollar blessing is heavy, it requires a strengthened spirit. And now your spirit is finally strong enough. What's coming to you by 3:33 p.m. is more than money. It is a breakthrough that shifts your entire life trajectory. It will unlock opportunities, connections, and resources that were previously unreachable. It will restore your faith in divine timing. It will remind you that God's promises are not myths, they are movements. And here is the part few understand. This blessing will not just touch your finances. It will ripple through your relationships, your peace, your creativity, your courage, your identity. It will open doors you don't even know exist yet. It will draw people toward you who carry the next level of your purpose. Michael stands beside this blessing like a warrior standing beside a king's decree. He says, nothing can interfere with what has been released. Your name has already been spoken in the courts of heaven. The blessing is already flying toward you. Pause for a moment, breathe, and recognize what is happening inside you right now. That stirring. That sudden warmth in your chest. That shift in the atmosphere around you. That is confirmation. That is alignment. That is the divine appointment drawing near. Before you move, before you scroll, before you blink away the moment, remember this. The next part of this message contains a revelation Michael insists you hear so that nothing blocks the arrival at 3:33 p.m. Hold on, because what unfolds next may explain the spiritual delays, confusions, or oppositions you've been facing for months. And once you understand it, your blessing won't just arrive, it will land with power. My cherished soul, before we move deeper into what Archangel Michael is trying to reveal, pause for a moment and notice how your spirit feels right now. There is a subtle vibration, a quiet awakening, a shift in your inner atmosphere that you cannot explain in words. That sensation is not imagination, it is activation. When heaven releases a time-stamped blessing, the human spirit begins responding long before the physical realm catches up. And today, on November 30, as the clock moves closer to 3:33 p.m., your spirit is already turning toward what God has written in your name. Michael is showing me something unusual, a spiritual ledger. This ledger carries the records of every moment you planted in faith, every tear that watered your prayers, every dream that refused to die even when circumstances tried to bury it. Heaven does not forget what the earth overlooks. According to Michael, your name is highlighted in that ledger today. Not pencil, not written lightly. Highlighted with divine ink that cannot be erased. This is why the blessing released in your name is so large. It is not just financial reward. It is accumulated spiritual justice. Everything that tried to steal your joy, your opportunities, your confidence, your rest, your direction, your clarity, heaven is returning it with interest. And the interest is coming in the form of a billion-dollar breakthrough that will function like a divine verdict. Michael says you have been standing in a courtroom without knowing it. For years, the enemy tried to argue that you were unworthy of elevation. He tried to use your past, your missteps, your delays, and your losses as evidence against you. But heaven looked at your perseverance instead. Heaven looked at your heart. Heaven looked at the moments when you kept believing, even without visible proof. Heaven looked at the nights when you whispered prayers you didn't even have the strength to speak aloud. And the judge of all creation made a ruling in your favor. And that ruling is what you are feeling today. That ruling is what is scheduled to manifest at 3:33 p.m. That ruling is what Archangel Michael has been assigned to escort into your reality. But Michael wants you to understand something important. Whenever a major blessing is released, spiritual turbulence increases temporarily. That is why you may have felt emotional heaviness, unusual tiredness, irritation, or sudden discouragement earlier today. These sensations are not random. They are signs that the blessing is descending and the enemy is trying to shake you loose from alignment. But Michael says your alignment is holding strong. He has been guarding your spirit in ways you couldn't see. Right now, there is a light forming around your name. It looks like golden threads weaving a protective shield around the blessing coming toward you. Michael is ensuring that no spiritual interference, no negative energy, no lingering doubt disrupts its path. You have no idea how many things he has pushed away from you today, confusions that were meant to slow you, distractions that were meant to weaken your focus, voices that were meant to pull your belief apart. But the most important thing, he kept your spirit open. You see, the command God gave, "Open now," was not instruction for your physical hands. It was an instruction for your inner posture. An open spirit recognizes divine timing. An open spirit receives without resistance. An open spirit dissolves the walls built by fear. An open spirit attracts what heaven sends. That is why this message feels like it is reaching past your mind and straight into your soul. Because heaven knows the exact moment you needed to hear this. Heaven knows how close you are to a breakthrough that will rewrite your story. Heaven knows the blessing meant for you has traveled too far to be delayed any longer. Michael is now revealing the mystery behind the time 3:33 p.m. It is not just a marker. It is a multiplier. When God aligns a blessing with repeated numbers, he multiplies its impact. 3 multiplied by itself becomes 9, a number of divine completion, finality, fullness. Michael says at 3:33 p.m., a spiritual cycle in your life will quietly snap shut. The struggles that overstayed their season will lose their hold. The blessings that were paused will resume movement. The doors that refused to open will unlock with almost no effort. But here is the part you must not miss. The next phase of this blessing requires awareness. Michael says if you are spiritually alert, the blessing will not simply arrive, it will expand. But if your heart grows distracted in this window, the arrival may be slower, softer, or less noticeable. That is why heaven guided you to this message at this exact moment. You are being aligned for maximum impact. There is something else Michael shows, an image of you standing at a threshold. Behind you are the years of struggle, and before you is a field of promise. Many people stand at thresholds without realizing it and step back out of fear. But you, right now, are being pushed gently forward by divine hands. Heaven is ushering you into a new dimension of provision, and Michael is walking ahead of you with a drawn sword, clearing the path. The final key for this moment is trust. You don't need to understand every detail. You don't need to analyze every sign. You simply need to trust that if heaven set an appointment for 3:33 p.m., then heaven intends to keep it. Something is unfolding around your life right now that will make sense only in hindsight. But later, you will look back at this moment and say, that was the day everything shifted. Before this part closes, let your heart stay open. The next part carries a revelation about the type of blessing being delivered to you. A revelation Michael insists you hear so you can receive without fear, without hesitation, and without missing what is meant for your hands. Before you move, hold on for the next unveiling. It becomes even more powerful from here. Type "My spirit is open" in the comments if this message resonates with you. Blessing code 3339 is now active. My awakened one, something in the atmosphere around you is shifting even more intensely now. If you pay attention, you can almost feel the air thickening with divine purpose. It is because Archangel Michael has moved closer to you in the spirit. His presence becomes stronger whenever a blessing is about to cross from the unseen into the seen. And right now, the blessing scheduled for 3:33 p.m. is approaching the final stage of release. Michael is showing me a vision of your life, like a long hallway. Behind you, there are doors you closed with tears, doors that closed on you without warning, and doors you stood before for years waiting for them to open. But in front of you, there is one door glowing in radiant light. That door is not opening by chance. It is opening because heaven has authorized your next season. And the blessing arriving today is the key that unlocks it. This billion-dollar blessing is not just wealth. It is a divine restructuring of your entire path. It is the kind of blessing that changes your language, your posture, your expectations, and even the atmosphere of the rooms you walk into. Michael says it will not only elevate you, but it will shut down every voice that doubted your calling. Every person who underestimated your capacity. Every situation that tried to define you by your lowest moments. But understand this. A blessing of this magnitude does not fight its way to you without resistance. The enemy cannot stop its arrival, but he will try to confuse your perception of it. That is why you may have felt unusual energy around you today, old memories resurfacing, sudden emotional flashes, or conflicting thoughts. These are not signs of weakness. These are signs of impact. Your spirit is colliding with a shift heaven has already prepared. Michael wants you to know something vital. Your breakthrough is not fragile. Your blessing is not uncertain. Your elevation is not at risk. The timing is already sealed. The release is already confirmed. And the path is already cleared. The only thing heaven needs from you now is awareness. Awareness transforms a blessing from something you receive into something you can steward. Awareness allows you to recognize divine opportunities instead of walking past them. Awareness positions you to hear instructions that lead to multiplication. And Michael says the blessing coming at 3:33 p.m. carries instructions you will receive intuitively in the hours or days that follow. This blessing is also connected to generational shifts. Michael is showing me your lineage like a timeline filled with struggles, limitations, patterns, and repeated hardships. But there is a place where the line suddenly bends upward. That bend is you. The moment this blessing touches your life, the generational direction changes. What defeated those before you will not defeat you. What limited them will not limit you. What broke them will break before it reaches you. You are the first in your line to experience this level of divine alignment. You are the first whose name has been marked with this magnitude of breakthrough. And heaven is trusting you with it because you carried burdens that would have crushed others, yet you still kept your heart open. Michael says this blessing is arriving with acceleration. What should have taken years will take months. What should have taken months will take weeks. What should have taken weeks will take days. Heaven is collapsing time for you, because your assignment requires speed now. You are stepping into a season where progress will happen suddenly, unexpectedly, and supernaturally. But here is the part you must listen to carefully. When a blessing arrives, it does not always appear in its final form immediately. Sometimes it arrives as an opportunity, a conversation, a shift in atmosphere, a sudden idea, a new doorway, or a person sent by heaven. Do not dismiss anything lightly today. Michael is guiding you to be spiritually sensitive, emotionally alert, and mentally open. Something is coming that will not look extraordinary at first, but it will carry the seed of your billion-dollar breakthrough. You are being prepared for recognition. You are being prepared for divine placement. You are being prepared for supernatural operating. Heaven is moving you into circles where your voice will matter. Your presence will shift things, and your gift will make room for you. Right now, Michael says your spirit is rising. You may not feel it physically, but in the kingdom realm, your identity is expanding. This is why your heart feels different today. This is why something in you feels ready, even if your mind doesn't fully understand. Alignment always arrives before explanation. As this part closes, prepare yourself emotionally and spiritually. The next segment will reveal why God chose this specific date and this specific time, and how the timing connects to your next life chapter. That revelation will strengthen your confidence and prevent you from missing the signs that are about to unfold. Before you move forward, breathe and anchor yourself. The next revelation is one you cannot afford to miss. Stay with this flow. Your blessing is closer than your next breath. Type "I am in alignment" in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 412 is now released. If this message is touching your spirit, like this video. Comment to anchor your blessing, share it to help someone else step into their timing, and subscribe so you never miss what heaven sends next. As you feel this prophetic flow unlocking something within you, I want to speak directly to the hearts that sense the weight of this calling. God is raising voices in this generation who carry His light, His fire, and His breakthrough presence. When you support this ministry through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not helping a channel. You are helping God reach souls who are standing at the edge of their divine appointment. I declare over every giver that their seed becomes a key, unlocking doors no human hand could open. This is the moment heaven whispers, "I am inviting you to stand with this word." The very theme of today's message, heaven's release and divine timing, rests on your obedience as a spiritual act. Those who sow into this message will carry a mantle of overflow in this season. Step into this blessing and release your support now, for heaven moves through those who answer when God calls. My chosen soul, as we move deeper into this divine revelation, I need you to slow your mind and allow your spirit to rise a little higher. What is unfolding over you today is not ordinary spiritual activity. It is intentional. It is orchestrated. It is precise. Archangel Michael is showing me that the timing of this blessing, this billion-dollar breakthrough marked for 3:33 p.m., was set long before you ever faced the battles that tried to break you. Heaven planned the release before the struggle even began. Nothing you endured was wasted. Nothing you survived was random. Nothing you fought through went unnoticed. Everything was building capacity for what is now coming into your life. Michael is revealing a powerful truth. Timing is a weapon of heaven. When God wants to shatter delay, He sends a blessing at a moment no opposition can anticipate. Today, November 30, is that kind of moment for you. Heaven waited until the final stretch of the year to release a blessing that carries the magnitude to rewrite everything you thought was lost. This blessing is not meant to encourage you temporarily. It is meant to reposition your entire life permanently. And the reason Michael is so present right now is because only a high-ranking archangel can guard a blessing of this size. He is standing like a warrior at the gates of your destiny, ensuring the path stays clear and your spirit stays steady. He has fought battles in the unseen for you today, battles you don't even know happened. Emotional heaviness that suddenly lifted, distractions that fizzled out, attacks that never reached you, those were not coincidences. That was Michael doing what he was assigned to do. You may not realize it, but you are standing inside a divine countdown. Every minute draws you closer to the moment heaven planned for you. And within that countdown, your spirit is being positioned, aligned, and rewired to carry the blessing. It's not just about receiving it. It's about being able to hold it without fear, without shrinking, and without self-sabotage. Michael is showing me the posture of your heart today. It looks stretched but open, tired but expectant. worn, but ready. Heaven knew that this was the moment your spirit would finally be strong enough to handle the blessing without losing yourself in the pressure that comes with it. Elevation is not just about acquiring, it is about becoming. And you are becoming the version of yourself who can stand in abundance without shaking. The next revelation is this. This blessing was held back for protection, not punishment. Had it arrived earlier in your life, you would have shared it with people who were not meant to access it. You would have invested it into situations that were not aligned. You would have been pulled into obligations that drained rather than strengthened you. Heaven waited for your circle to shift. Heaven waited for your boundaries to strengthen. Heaven waited for your identity to rise. Only now is your environment stable enough, your heart mature enough, your discernment sharp enough, and your energy guarded enough to carry this level of abundance. Michael says this blessing comes with a mantle, an anointing for multiplication. What enters your hands will not remain in its original form. It will grow. It will expand. It will build. It will open doors that create more doors. Your responsibility is not to chase expansion. Your responsibility is to stay aligned. Expansion is inevitable when heaven marks a blessing with divine purpose. Right now, Michael is pointing to something important. He is showing me the reason the blessing arrives at 3:33 p.m. It is because heaven is merging three realms of favor in your life at the same time. Favor with God, favor with purpose, favor with resources. These three streams rarely align in the same moment, but today they are converging. This convergence creates what Michael calls a destiny acceleration zone. That means what you have been waiting for suddenly begins moving, not inch by inch, but in leaps that bypass human limitation. But hear this clearly, when a blessing approaches, distractions multiply. People who have not spoken to you in months may try to pull your attention. Doubts may try to rise. Thoughts may try to wander. This is not weakness. This is interference. Heaven does not want you startled by it. Michael says remaining emotionally centered today is crucial. Your awareness keeps the blessing flowing toward you without delay. There is also a powerful insight Michael wants you to understand. Not everyone can recognize the moment heaven focuses on them. Many people miss their timing because they assume breakthrough should feel dramatic or overwhelming. But heaven often moves with stillness, with subtlety, with gentle confirmation. The very fact that this message reached you at this exact time, on this exact day, is evidence that God intends for you to catch what others might overlook. This blessing does not require fear or stress or striving. It requires presence. Today, heaven is not asking you to fight. Heaven is asking you to notice, to stay spiritually awake, to keep your heart open as the moment approaches. And Michael is guarding your awareness. This is why you haven't scrolled away. This is why your spirit keeps leaning in. This is why something inside you is saying, pay attention, this is for you. As we close this section, prepare yourself. The next message reveals the hidden purpose behind why heaven marked this blessing as a billion-dollar blessing specifically. Not symbolic, not exaggerated, but literal spiritual weight that carries financial, generational, and destiny-shaping power. That revelation will shift the way you see everything. Hold your place in the spirit. What comes next carries the blueprint for your next chapter. My destined one, as you move deeper into this unfolding revelation, know that heaven is drawing you into the heart of something sacred. Archangel Michael is standing firmly in the spiritual realm, and his message for you right now carries extraordinary weight. He says the reason your blessing has been labeled as a billion-dollar blessing is not because of the number alone, but because of the assignment a number represents. There is a mantle attached to this release that requires abundance, not fragments, not leftovers, not emotional scraps, but divine fullness. Michael is showing me a vision of your life, like a riverbed that has been cracked by dryness. You have walked through seasons where resources felt thin, opportunities felt distant, and support felt inconsistent. Yet through it all, heaven watched you continue to pour from what little you had. You gave kindness when you badly needed some yourself. You offered encouragement when your own heart was heavy. You remained strong for others even when your strength was fading. Heaven took note of every one of those moments. The billion-dollar blessing is heaven's response to the level of generosity your spirit carried even in lack. Michael says this blessing is coming not just to lift you up, but to restore the years where you lived under pressure, underweight, under-resourced. Heaven is now pouring back what life tried to drain from you. And because of the size of your calling, the blessing must match the magnitude of the mission placed on your life. Michael wants you to understand that the blessing is not just financial, though financial elevation will be a major part of it. This blessing represents influence, access, wisdom, and supernatural acceleration. It is the kind of blessing that places you in rooms you once only dreamed of, connects you with people whose presence shifts your trajectory, and unlocks opportunities that would have taken a lifetime to reach on your own. But here is the deeper truth. The reason the blessing is marked for 3:33 p.m. is because heaven is intersecting three major areas of your destiny at the same time. Michael calls them the three pillars of divine expansion. First, spiritual authority. Your trials have strengthened your inner foundation. You no longer crumble under pressure the way you once did. You developed endurance that only comes through experience, and heaven is now trusting you with more because you have proven you can withstand more. Second, financial elevation. Heaven is releasing resources into your life because the plans connected to your purpose require funding. You cannot walk into the next level of your assignment with empty hands. You need stability, flexibility, and space to execute the vision God has planted within you. Third, generational breakthrough. Michael is revealing that you are breaking a pattern that existed long before you were born. The blessing arriving today does not start with you, but it will continue through you. Your future lineage will be affected by your obedience, your resilience, and your faith. These three pillars meeting in one moment. Your moment is the reason this blessing carries such enormous weight. Michael is also showing me something unusual, a vault in heaven. This vault contains blessings that were stored for you long before you even understood your calling. Some were delayed because the timing wasn't right. Some were withheld because your spirit needed to mature. Some were preserved because the people around you at that time were not meant to access what God designed solely for you. But today, on November 30, heaven has opened that vault. You do not receive this blessing alone. You receive everything that was meant to accumulate over the years you spent waiting, growing, healing, rising. What is coming at 3:33 p.m. is layered, stacked, compounded favor. And Michael says a very rare spiritual alignment is happening around you right now. Even if your physical environment looks calm or unchanged, your spirit is in the middle of divine motion. Things are being shifted, sorted, rearranged, elevated on your behalf. You may sense sudden clarity, unusual calmness, or a gentle rise in your inner strength. This is your soul preparing to hold what heaven is placing upon you. You must also understand this. A blessing of this size requires separation before elevation. That is why you lost certain people unexpectedly. That is why some connections fell apart without explanation. That is why certain chapters closed abruptly. Heaven removed anything that would have contaminated, diluted, or misused the blessing coming your way. Michael says some people were disconnected from your life, not because you failed them, but because they were not meant to rise with you. You may not have understood the separation then, but you will understand it soon. We are now approaching a deeper layer of this revelation. Michael wants you to prepare for something heaven rarely reveals so openly, the signs that will confirm the blessing's arrival. These signs will be subtle yet unmistakable. They will affirm that you are standing in the exact moment heaven designed for you. But before we move into that unveiling, steady your spirit. What comes next will help you recognize the manifestation before it fully appears. You will not miss what is yours. You will not overlook what heaven is delivering. You will not doubt the timing. Hold your place in this flow. The next message carries prophetic clarity you need in order to walk into your new chapter with confidence. My rising spirit, you have stepped into a moment where heaven is not whispering, it is declaring. The atmosphere around you is charged, almost humming with sacred tension, because Archangel Michael is preparing to reveal the signs that will confirm the arrival of your billion-dollar blessing. These signs are not random. They are not coincidences. They are markers, heaven's way of letting you know it has begun. Before Michael unveils these signs, he wants to remind you of something essential. Blessings of this magnitude rarely appear in their final form the moment they are released. The spiritual realm moves first. Then the physical realm catches up. Right now, the spirit realm is moving rapidly on your behalf. Things are being aligned that you have prayed for, cried for, and waited for. This is not imagination. This is manifestation. Michael shows me an image of you standing at a crossroads, not a place of confusion, but a place of transition. One path represents your past, filled with struggle and limitation. The other path glows with promise, opportunity, and abundance. You have already taken your first step onto the glowing path. That step happened the moment your spirit opened to receive this message. That openness created divine momentum. Now, heaven is sending signs to confirm what your spirit already knows. Michael says the first sign of this blessing is internal. You will feel a shift within your own energy. A sudden calmness may wash over you, stopping the chaos that usually swirls in your mind. Or you may feel an unexplainable surge of confidence, as though you have finally remembered who you truly are. This inner shift is heaven aligning you with a frequency of abundance. It is the sound of your spirit rising to meet the blessing that has been written in your name. Another sign is clarity. Ideas that once felt tangled will suddenly make sense. Decisions you struggled over will become easy. Confusion will dissolve. You may wake up with answers you didn't have the night before. This clarity is not coming from your mind. It is coming from divine guidance. Michael is clearing away the fog so you can recognize the doors heaven is preparing to open. The next sign is unexpected movement in your environment. This may appear as a sudden opportunity, a message from someone you haven't heard from in a long time, a new connection, a shift in circumstances, or an unexpected piece of information that changes your direction for the better. These movements may look small at first, but they carry massive spiritual weight. Heaven rarely announces blessings with loud noise. It announces them with subtle alignment. Michael is also showing me the sign of unusual favor. People may treat you with unexpected kindness. Someone may offer help without being asked. You might find yourself in the right place at the right time in ways you cannot explain. This is heaven bending the hearts of people to fulfill divine timing. But one of the strongest signs is supernatural peace. As the blessing approaches 3:33 p.m., you may feel peace that contradicts your circumstances. You may notice that things which once stressed you no longer have power over you. This peace is not emotional, it is spiritual confirmation. Michael says peace is heaven's signature. Another powerful sign is the breaking of old patterns. Habits that once held you will suddenly feel easy to release. Emotional cycles that repeated for years will lose their grip. Attachments that drained your energy will begin dissolving. Heaven is cleansing the pathways so you can receive without blockage. And then there is the sign of divine timing itself. You may find that the clock catches your attention more than usual. You may see repeating numbers, especially 333, on receipts, screens, clocks, or random places. Michael says these numbers are not mere signs. They are timestamps. They are reminders that heaven has scheduled something for you. But the most profound sign of all is this message. The fact that you are hearing this at the exact moment your spirit needed confirmation is evidence in itself. Heaven does not send messages by accident. Michael has guided you into this moment because the blessing is already in motion. It is traveling toward you with precision, speed, and purpose. Michael is revealing that right now, your name is being spoken in places where decisions are being made, opportunities are forming, and blessings are being transferred. Heaven is sending your name ahead of you. And when your name arrives in the right places before you do, doors must open. You may not see the full picture yet, but you will soon. Heaven is not asking you to figure everything out. It is asking you to stay aligned, stay open, and stay expectant. You are stepping into a season where blessings will meet you before you even ask. As we prepare for the next message, Michael says there is one more revelation that must be delivered. The reason the enemy fought you so hard this year. Understanding this will help you see the magnitude of what God is restoring. This next revelation is crucial, because once you understand why the battle was so intense, you will understand why the blessing is so large. Hold your spirit steady. The next unveiling will bring everything into sharp, undeniable clarity. My steadfast soul, as we move into this next revelation, Archangel Michael is standing with a heightened intensity that I can feel even as I speak. His presence has shifted. It is stronger, clearer, more protective, because what he is about to reveal carries deep spiritual truth. You have wondered why your battles this year felt heavier than usual, why obstacles appeared out of nowhere, why certain plans collapsed unexpectedly, why emotional weight seemed to press down on you in unpredictable waves. Michael says none of this happened because you were weak. It happened because you were close. Heaven had scheduled this billion-dollar blessing long before the battles showed up, and the enemy sensed its approach before you did. The pressure you faced was not a sign that God was distant. It was a sign that heaven was preparing to release something extraordinary into your life. The intensity of your struggles was the indicator that elevation was near. Michael says you were being fought not because you were doing something wrong, but because you were carrying something right. Every tug of resistance, every sudden storm, every unexpected delay was a reaction to the blessing heaven assigned to your name. The enemy cannot stop a blessing, but he can attempt to exhaust the vessel meant to receive it. That was the strategy used against you this year. Wear you down so your spirit would stop expecting. Drain your strength so your faith would stop believing. Weaken your confidence so you would misinterpret divine timing as divine silence. But Michael says heaven never went silent. Heaven was preparing. He shows me a vision of your past months like a battlefield. You stood in the center surrounded by situations that came from multiple directions. Emotional strain from one side. Financial pressure from another. Unexpected conflict from a third. Uncertainty from behind you. All of this happening at once made you think something was wrong with you. But the truth is, heaven was upgrading you. You were not breaking. You were stretching. Michael says the enemy fought you hardest in the areas where your blessing would be the strongest. That means if you struggled with finances, it's because abundance is coming. If you battled loneliness, it's because new connections are approaching. If you felt invisible, it's because God is about to highlight you. If you felt stuck, it's because heaven is positioning you for rapid movement. The battle reveals the blessing. The pressure reveals the promise. The attacks reveal your assignment. Michael wants you to hear this clearly. Nothing you lost this year was the foundation of your destiny. Anything that crumbled was not meant to carry your future. Anything that walked away was not designed for where you are going. Anything that drained you was not connected to your elevation. Heaven allowed certain things to fall away so your spirit could rise without weight. Some connections were removed because they would have limited your expansion. Some opportunities were blocked because they would have kept you small. Some plans collapsed because heaven had bigger ones. Michael says rejection was redirection. Loss was positioning. Delay was protection. This is why the blessing arriving today carries such magnitude. It is compensation for every spiritual battle. It is restoration for everything that tried to break you. It is heaven's response to the warfare you endured silently. And because you did not give up, even on the days when you wanted to, this blessing carries weight, authority, and acceleration. Michael is showing me another image now. You standing in a field that once looked barren. Slowly, flowers begin to rise out of the soil. Not one or two, but hundreds, bright, vibrant, unexplainable. This is symbolic of how quickly the blessing will manifest in your life. Things that once looked empty will begin producing without effort. Opportunities will bloom where there was once dryness. What was closed will open. What was stagnant will flow. The most powerful part of this message is this: your spirit passed a test heaven never spoke out loud. You held on to hope, even when everything around you contradicted it. You kept believing even when you didn't understand. You kept moving even when your strength was low. Michael says heaven was watching to see if your character could carry what your calling demanded. And you passed. This is why the blessing is so large. This is why it carries billion-dollar weight. This blessing is not a reward. It is a commissioning. It is God saying, now you are ready. Michael also wants you to know that the intensity of your battles created spiritual authority in your life. You are not stepping into this blessing weak or wounded. You are stepping into it strengthened and sharpened. Your discernment is clearer. Your spirit is louder. Your heart is purer. Your intuition is stronger. Heaven has been shaping you quietly for the moment you are about to enter. And now the countdown continues. The hour of 3:33 p.m. approaches with divine precision. As the moment nears, the spiritual pressure that once felt heavy is beginning to transform into spiritual power. This is why your spirit feels different right now. Lighter, more open, more expectant. The shift is happening inside you before it appears around you. The next part will reveal something few ever learn in their lifetime. What happens in the spirit realm at the exact moment a blessing lands. Michael insists you hear this so you can fully receive the release heaven is bringing to you. Stay attentive. The revelation is becoming even more powerful. My illuminated soul, we have now reached a depth of revelation where the spiritual realm is no longer distant from you. It's surrounding you, responding to you, and aligning itself with your next elevation. Archangel Michael stands firmly beside your name, and he is prepared to reveal one of the rarest truths about blessings. What actually happens in the unseen the very moment a divine release touches the earth. Most people never discern it. Most people never sense it. But you, heaven, has chosen to reveal this mystery to you because of the blessing approaching your life with intentional speed. Michael shows me an image. The moment a blessing descends, The heavens brighten around your spiritual identity. Your name begins to glow in the realm of the spirit, radiating like a seal that has just been stamped by divine authority. This glow attracts angels, not because they are responding to a request, but because they are responding to a command. You see, when God releases a blessing of this magnitude, angels do not assist, they execute. They move with precision. Michael says at the moment of release, 3 things occur simultaneously. First, the space around your life shifts spiritually. Where there was stagnation, movement begins. Where there was heaviness, it lifts. Where there was confusion, it clears. He shows me a swirling motion, like the atmosphere spinning around you, removing old energies and ushering in fresh alignment. This is why you may suddenly feel lighter today, or more hopeful, or more emotionally balanced. It is the early ripple of heavenly release. Second, heaven activates divine connections. This is one of the most powerful parts of manifestation. The blessing doesn't just land. It begins drawing people, opportunities, resources, clarity, and open doors toward you. Heaven orchestrates meetings. Heaven stirs people's thoughts about you. Heaven positions the right individuals to remember your name, your gift, your existence. Sometimes the blessing shows up in a person before it shows up in your hands. Michael says, watch your connections over the next days. Heaven is sending help disguised as people. Third, the blessing will challenge old versions of you. Not to break you, but to elevate you. Heaven confronts the beliefs that kept you small, the fears that kept you quiet, the insecurities that kept you hesitant. You will notice yourself becoming bolder in decisions, clearer in boundaries, stronger in discernment. This is the blessing reshaping you internally. Heaven never releases abundance into a heart that still sees itself as unworthy. Today, the blessing is expanding your self-perception so you can carry what is coming. Michael reveals something else sacred. The moment the blessing lands at 3:33 p.m., there will be a spiritual ignition, like a spark that lights a divine fire within your path. This fire clears away every residue of what tried to stop you. It burns through lingering doubt, old pain, hidden blockages, and invisible obstacles. It prepares the ground so your blessing can land without being contaminated by yesterday's battles. You are not just receiving a breakthrough. You are being transformed into someone who can walk confidently inside that breakthrough. Michael is showing me a scene where angels gather around individuals whose blessings are arriving. They stand in formation, strong, tall, precise, creating a spiritual shield. Nothing negative can enter that field. Nothing draining can attach itself. Nothing unstable can interfere. This is why your energy has been shifting. Heaven has placed you inside divine protection for this moment. You may also notice time behaving differently today. Minutes may feel slower or faster. Thoughts may feel sharper. Emotions may feel unusually balanced. These are all natural reactions to spiritual alignment. As 3:33 p.m. approaches, your body, your spirit, and your environment begin responding to the descent of destiny. Here is another truth that Michael says very few people understand. Blessings do not arrive silently. They make a vibration in the unseen. That vibration affects everything connected to your life. This is why old situations suddenly feel distant. Why old hurts don't sting the same. Why certain relationships feel irrelevant. Why your heart feels ready for newness, even if your mind hasn't fully caught up. The blessing is adjusting your emotional frequency so you can receive with strength. Michael now reveals the most profound part. When the blessing arrives, heaven expects a response. Not a reaction of fear, doubt, or hesitation, but a response of alignment. The moment you say, This is mine, the blessing anchors. When you embrace it, it expands. When you expect it, it accelerates. Heaven responds to faith, not fear. And he says something beautiful: nothing can stop what is arriving. You are already inside the blessing's radius. As this message comes to a close, prepare your spirit for the revelation in the next section, where Michael will unveil how this blessing will unfold over the days, weeks, and months ahead. Understanding this will keep you from missing divine openings that follow the release. Before moving forward, pause for a moment. Feel the warmth in your chest. Feel the shift in your spirit. Feel the presence of heaven drawing close. This is not imagination. This is divine timing. Type "My blessing is landing" in the comments if this resonates with you. Blessing code 9922 is activated. If this message is awakening something inside you, take a moment to like this video. Comment and anchor your blessing, share to help another soul step into their timing, and subscribe so you never miss what heaven is releasing. As this prophetic flow deepens, I want to speak to the hearts that feel the weight of heaven in this moment. God is raising a remnant, voices who carry light into dark places, revelation into weary hearts, and hope into those who feel forgotten. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, channel membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you become a vessel heaven uses to reach souls standing at their own 3:33 p.m. appointment. I declare that every seed released into this ministry becomes a divine accelerator in your life, opening doors that no hand can shut. Heaven is whispering, I am calling you to partner with what I am doing here. Your support is not a donation. It is a prophetic act of alignment. To all who sow, may God multiply your gift with divine overflow and supernatural protection. Move now as heaven stirs your spirit, for obedience releases favor. My advancing soul, as we step into this next phase of the message, the atmosphere around you is shifting yet again. Archangel Michael stands taller, firmer, and more present than before, because what he is about to reveal concerns your future unfolding, the trajectory of your life after the blessing lands. Heaven does not release something this powerful without also releasing a roadmap. And Michael has come to ensure that you do not just receive this blessing, but that you grow inside it, rise with it, and expand because of it. He is showing me a timeline stretching out before you, glowing with divine markers. These markers represent seasons that have already been written, not by human hands, but by heavenly decree. The blessing arriving at 3:33 p.m. is not an isolated moment. It is a catalytic moment. It triggers a sequence of spiritual changes that will unfold over the next days, weeks, and months. Heaven is not giving you a single breakthrough. Heaven is setting you into motion. Michael reveals that the first immediate effect of the blessing is alignment. Within the next few days, you may notice that certain things fall into place effortlessly. Tasks that once felt heavy will suddenly feel light. Conversations will flow smoothly. People who were once distant may reach out unexpectedly. This is heaven synchronizing your environment with your new spiritual frequency. You have been elevated, and now your surroundings must match your elevation. The second phase involves clarity of direction. Heaven is going to illuminate decisions that were once blurry. Michael says you will wake up knowing exactly what you need to do, who you need to distance yourself from, where you need to invest your energy, and which path leads to your next level. Confusion will fade like mist under sunlight. This clarity is not coming from your mind alone. It is coming from divine intelligence placed within you as part of the blessing. The next stage, unfolding over the coming weeks, is increased opportunity. Doors that were previously locked will open with less effort. Connections that once seemed out of reach will be accessible. You may receive messages, offers, invitations, or moments of recognition that feel almost unreal. Michael says these opportunities are not coincidences. They are heaven-made pathways. They exist because you have entered a new realm of favor. Then comes the stage of expansion. This part is profound. Expansion means you will begin stepping into spaces you once felt unprepared for. You will hold conversations you never imagined having. You will discover abilities you didn't know you possessed. You will find yourself in moments where you realize, I am not who I used to be. Something has changed. That something is the blessing working through your identity, reshaping your confidence, enlarging your capacity. Michael shows me that expansion also means your influence will grow. People will begin gravitating toward you without knowing why. Your presence will carry authority. Your words will hold weight. Your energy will leave impact. This is the blessing unfolding, not in your bank account alone, but in your character, your awareness, and your purpose. Over the coming months, the blessing will enter its final stage, manifestation in visible form. This is where everything becomes undeniable. Resources will begin flowing. New partnerships will form. Unexpected financial elevation may occur. Solutions will appear where you once saw only obstacles. Favor will meet you in places where you thought doors were permanently shut. This is not fantasy. This is divine order. The blessing is not symbolic. It is structural. But Michael also gives a gentle warning. Every new level exposes old shadows. As you expand, people who once underestimated you may grow uneasy. Individuals who did not support your rise may attempt to return when they sense your elevation. Opportunities will appear that look promising but carry spiritual traps. This is why discernment will be essential. Heaven will give you signs, nudges, and instinctual reactions that guide your decisions. Trust these signals. They are Michael's way of keeping you aligned. Heaven does not elevate you only to watch you fall. Heaven elevates you and equips you. Michael also reveals that the blessing will create a spiritual distance between you and your old identity. You may find that certain fears no longer affect you. Old insecurities lose their grip. Patterns that once repeated will break permanently. This is the evidence of transformation. You are not returning to who you were. You are rising into who heaven designed you to be. The most beautiful part of this unfolding is this. As the blessing expands through your life, you will become a carrier of breakthrough for others. Your elevation will become a testimony. Your story will become a roadmap. Your presence will become a catalyst. Michael says the blessing is not only for you. It will pass through you. Your rise will bring healing and hope to others. And he adds something sacred. You have been chosen because your heart can handle elevation without arrogance. This is why the blessing is safe in your hands. As we prepare to move forward, the next revelation will focus on the divine protection surrounding your breakthrough as it grows. Heaven does not release abundance without guarding it. Michael will reveal how he and his appointed angels will protect your rise, your identity, your finances, and your destiny from interference. What comes next is essential for sustaining your blessing. My protected soul, as we step into this next revelation, the air around your spirit is thick with divine movement. Archangel Michael stands beside your destiny with a shield raised high, and he is ready to unveil something most people never understand: the protection that surrounds a blessing of this magnitude. The billion-dollar blessing assigned to your name is not landing in your life unguarded. Heaven has wrapped it in layers of spiritual security, because your next level is too important, too impactful, too generationally significant to be touched by interference. Michael shows me a vision of your blessing like a radiant sphere descending from the higher realms. As it travels, angels move around it in protective formation. Wings extended, swords drawn, eyes fixed. They are not simply accompanying the blessing. They are ensuring it cannot be intercepted. Heaven knows your blessing is precious, and nothing is allowed to contaminate what God has ordained for you. This is why your spirit may feel unusually calm today, even if your mind is still processing. The calmness is a sign that the battle for this blessing has already been fought and won. Heaven has gone before you. Michael has cleared the path. The resistance that once surrounded your life has been subdued. You are walking into something protected, predetermined, and preserved. Heaven's protection unfolds in 4 powerful layers. The first layer is energetic protection. Michael says your aura, your spiritual field, has been cleansed and strengthened. Things that once drained you will lose access. People who once pulled from you emotionally will find themselves blocked. Patterns that once repeated will suddenly break. This is heaven sealing your spirit, preventing old wounds from reopening or past energies from attaching to your forward momentum. You may already feel this shift. Certain conversations no longer appeal to you. Certain environments feel foreign. Certain people feel distant. This is not rejection. It is protection. The second layer is emotional protection. The blessing arriving at 3:33 p.m. carries weight, and heaven knows you cannot afford emotional instability in this season. That is why peace has settled on you in ways you cannot explain. Worries that once consumed you are losing their hold. Anxieties that lingered for months are weakening. Thoughts that once spiraled are calming. Michael says heaven is stabilizing your inner world so you can carry this blessing without fear or hesitation. You will feel calmer, clearer, more grounded, because your emotions are now guarded by divine design. The third layer is positional protection. Heaven is moving you, spiritually and sometimes physically, away from people who cannot be trusted with your elevation. Some individuals cannot go where you are going. Some would drain your blessing. Some would misuse your kindness. Some would envy your breakthrough. And so heaven has quietly repositioned you. You may have noticed distance forming, conversations ending, connections fading. This distancing is not your loss. It is your preservation. Michael says, heaven removes so you can rise. The fourth layer is destiny protection. This is the deepest layer. It means nothing can interfere with your assignment. Not loss. Not confusion. Not betrayal. Not spiritual opposition. Your destiny is sealed. The blessing arriving today is part of that seal. Every step you take is guided. Every choice you make will be inspired. Every opportunity that comes will be aligned. Heaven is covering your future so that you can walk boldly without fear of destruction. Michael shows me an image of your path ahead glowing like molten gold. It is bright, warm, protected. No shadow can survive there. No curse can attach. No negativity can thrive. This is not poetic. This is literal spiritual covering. The divine protection surrounding your blessing will also begin rearranging things around you. You may notice people revealing their true intentions. You may sense shifts in relationships. You may feel drawn away from environments that once felt familiar. This is heaven removing anything that might corrupt the blessing. When God is about to elevate you, He exposes what cannot accompany you. Michael also reveals something profound. The blessing will place you on a higher spiritual frequency. Once you rise to this frequency, things that once hurt you will no longer have access to you. Words that once affected you will bounce off. Situations that once triggered you will lose power. You are being elevated above old battles. When heaven lifts you, it also lifts your awareness, your intuition, your strength, and your discernment. Another powerful truth: the blessing coming today is protected because it is connected to your legacy. This is not a temporary uplift. It is a foundational shift meant to alter the course of your life for years to come. Your future children, your future stability, your future freedom, and even your future impact depend on your ability to receive this blessing with a protected heart. That is why Michael is guarding it so fiercely. Heaven is also protecting the timing. No delay can interfere. No distraction can deter it. No spiritual resistance can slow it down. What is scheduled for 3:33 p.m. is sealed in spiritual law, and that law cannot be broken. Michael now whispers something rare. When heaven seals a blessing, the earth must respond. This means that after this breakthrough lands, the physical world will begin shifting automatically. Opportunities will align. People will come. Paths will open. Situations will unfold. Not because of force, but because your blessing has the authority to rearrange your reality. As this part closes, prepare for what comes next. The following message will reveal how to hold this blessing once it arrives, so you do not just receive breakthrough, but sustain it, nurture it, and grow it. My expanding soul, as we move into this next revelation, Archangel Michael steps forward with a gentleness that contrasts the strength he carried in the last segment. That shift is intentional. He says the message you are about to receive is not about warfare or resistance. This part is about preservation, anchoring, and long-term elevation. The blessing arriving at 3:33 p.m. is not meant to be a fleeting moment in your life. Heaven did not go to such lengths to release a breakthrough only for it to be temporary. This blessing is designed to be sustained, protected, multiplied, and lived in continuously. And for that, your spirit must learn how to hold it. Michael shows me a vision of your hands glowing, but not trembling. Strong, steady, open. This symbolizes your readiness, not just to receive your blessing, but to handle it with spiritual maturity. Many people receive breakthrough, but lose it because they were never taught how to carry what heaven placed in their hands. You, however, are being taught ahead of time. Heaven is giving you wisdom before the blessing shows up physically so that when it arrives, you will not feel overwhelmed. You will feel prepared. The first principle Michael reveals is stability. When breakthrough comes suddenly, it can feel surreal. You may question it, doubt it, or wonder if you are worthy of it. Michael says to silence these thoughts the moment they arise. This blessing is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is not a result of random chance. It is the fulfillment of a heavenly decision. Heaven does not make mistakes. If the blessing is assigned to you, it is because you have been spiritually shaped to carry it. Accept it without fear. Let it settle into your heart like truth, not like shock. The second principle is presence. Do not rush ahead. Do not let anxiety push you into overthinking. When the blessing begins unfolding, stay present in each moment. Feel it. Notice it. Appreciate it. Presence anchors abundance. Rushing weakens it. Heaven moves through calm awareness. When you are present, you can hear instructions, sense guidance, and recognize divine direction. Michael says, blessings grow in the soil of awareness. The third principle is stewardship. This blessing is large, larger than anything you have ever received. But it is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to empower you. Stewardship means you will use this blessing with intention, wisdom, and clarity. It means you will invest your time, your energy, your money, and your new opportunities with discernment. Stewardship opens the door to continuous expansion. Misuse leads to stagnation. But heaven trusts your spirit, and Michael says your heart has matured enough to make wise decisions. The fourth principle is identity alignment. You cannot hold $1 billion blessing with a wounded version of yourself. And heaven knows that. That is why much of your past pain has been healing quietly beneath the surface. That is why certain insecurities have faded. That is why old fears no longer hold the same weight. This blessing requires you to see yourself the way heaven sees you, capable, chosen, worthy, and prepared. The blessing will not shrink you. It will reveal your true identity. A fifth principle is spiritual sensitivity. You must stay connected to the voice within you. After the blessing arrives, heaven will continue to send instructions. Some will come through intuition, some through dreams, some through clarity, some through sudden ideas or impulses that feel divinely planted. Michael says these instructions will guide you on how to expand this blessing, protect it, and position it correctly. This is not the time to silence your inner knowing. It is the time to trust it fully. The sixth principle is boundaries. Your elevation will attract attention. Some will celebrate you. Some will be inspired by you. But others may want access to your blessing without carrying the responsibility for it. Heaven is giving you permission to say no without guilt. Boundaries are not walls. They are spiritual gates. They decide what enters your atmosphere and what remains outside. Protect your peace. Protect your energy. Protect your purpose. This blessing requires a clean environment to flourish. The seventh principle is gratitude. Not ordinary gratitude. Transformational gratitude. Gratitude that becomes a spiritual frequency. Gratitude that keeps your heart open. Gratitude that multiplies blessings. Gratitude turns a moment of breakthrough into a lifestyle of abundance. Heaven responds to a grateful spirit with continuous flow. Gratitude is not just appreciation. It is a posture that keeps you aligned with divine abundance. Michael now shows me a vision of your future self standing in a space filled with light, confident, stable, peaceful, empowered. This is the version of you that heaven sees. This is the version of you that the blessing is calling forth. This is the version of you that will walk into open doors with authority, speak in new spaces with clarity, and move through life with divine confidence. The final principle is expectation. Expect the blessing to grow. Expect doors to open. Expect divine alignment. Expect sudden favor. Expect elevation. Expect abundance to become normal to you. Expect miracles. Expect expansion. Expect the supernatural. The blessing coming at 3:33 p.m. is not the end. It is the beginning. Expect more than the initial release. Expect the overflow. Michael's last whisper in this segment is powerful. You were not chosen just to receive. You were chosen to rise. As this part concludes, prepare for the final unveiling. The next segment will bring everything together: the blessing, the timing, the protection, the unfolding, and the divine reason heaven chose you. It will finalize the journey you have taken through this message and set your spirit in perfect alignment for the release scheduled for your life. My crowned and chosen soul, you have reached a final revelation, yet what heaven is about to release into your spirit is not an ending. It is the opening of a new spiritual chapter, a divine threshold, a moment where everything that has been building finally aligns. Archangel Michael stands before you now with a brilliance so strong that the atmosphere around you feels lifted, cleansed, and sharpened. He says this final message is not just information, it is activation. It is the moment where everything you've heard begins merging into your reality. Michael is showing me a vision of your entire spiritual journey, as though your life is laid out before heaven like a glowing tapestry. Every moment of pain, every moment of triumph, every unanswered question, every silent prayer, every deep longing, all of it has woven together perfectly for this day, this timing, this blessing. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was overlooked. Heaven has been building toward this moment with divine precision. The blessing arriving at 3:33 p.m. carries the weight of everything you survived. It carries the reward for everything you endured. It carries the restoration for everything stolen. It carries the acceleration for everything delayed. And Michael says this blessing is not just a transfer, it is a transformation. In the realm of the Spirit, your name has been written in golden light today. Heaven has spoken over you. The decree is sealed. The timing is fixed. And Michael says nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in the way of what is being released. This blessing is flowing toward you like a river, whose dam has just been broken. The water can no longer be held back. It must move. It must fill. It must overflow. And you are the chosen vessel it is rushing toward. Michael reveals the ultimate truth of this day. You were never waiting on the blessing was waiting on you. Waiting for your strength. Waiting for your awakening. Waiting for your endurance. Waiting for your heart to be ready. Waiting for your spirit to rise. Heaven planned this release for a version of you who no longer doubts your value, no longer questions your purpose, no longer compares your path, and no longer shrinks to fit places that cannot contain your destiny. You have become the version of yourself capable of carrying high-level abundance without breaking beneath it. That is why heaven chose today. You were ready. Michael now shows me something breathtaking. The moment 3:33 p.m. arrives, a divine shift will echo through your spiritual identity. It will feel like a release, a lifting, a clearing. Some will feel warmth. Some will feel calm. Some will feel energy rising in their chest. Some will feel tears without sadness. Some will feel nothing at all, but will notice things around them changing rapidly afterward. Heaven customizes the experience to your spirit's sensitivity. But the blessing lands for all who are aligned. And then, the ripple begins. It will start subtly, a message, a thought, a shift, a connection, a realization, an open door, an unexpected confirmation. Then it grows. Momentum builds. Opportunities unfold. Your reality begins rearranging itself to match the elevation heaven has assigned to your name. Michael says you must remember this final truth. Blessings of this magnitude do not end with you. They begin with you. Your elevation becomes a generational turning point. Your breakthrough becomes a testimony. Your rise becomes a map for those connected to your calling. What heaven does for you today will ripple into the lives of people you have not even met yet. Your blessing is not just provision. It is purpose. Not just wealth. It is destiny. Not just promotion. It is spiritual authority. As you step into your new chapter, Michael says to hold your head high. You are entering a season marked by divine favor, supernatural alignment, and unstoppable momentum. You are stepping into territory where things will make sense, where your spirit will feel at home, where your calling will unfold with power. Heaven is not giving you a blessing. You are becoming the blessing. And now As this sacred message reaches its final lines, Michael leans forward with one last whisper. My beloved, your time has come. What was written for you is arriving. Walk with courage. Walk with expectancy. Walk as one chosen by heaven. Pause for a moment. Feel the shift. Feel the certainty. Feel the alignment settling over your spirit. Your blessing is not coming. It is here. Type "I walk in my divine release" in the comments to seal this final revelation. Blessing code 1010 is activated. If this prophetic message stirred your spirit, like this video. Comment to anchor your blessing, share this with someone who needs breakthrough, and subscribe so you never miss the next divine revelation released for you. As this message comes to its sacred completion, I speak now to those whose spirits felt heaven's pull deep within this journey. The Word of God is moving across nations, awakening destinies just like yours, and every time you support this mission, you become a vessel through which that light travels further. Heaven says, I am calling you to stand in the river of what I am doing. When you sow through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are empowering the gospel to reach souls standing at the edge of their breakthrough. I declare that every seed released today becomes a mantle of expansion, an anointing for overflow, and a shield of divine protection over your life. The theme of this message, timing, release, elevation, now rests on your obedience. Step forward boldly, for those who move with heaven never walk in lack. Release your support with faith, and may God multiply it back to you 100-fold.